Buffs Nation, what's going on? It's David here again, talking CU Buffs football, Coach Prime Deion Sanders, and everything in between. Really appreciate you checking out today's video. A lot has been made over the last few weeks about Coach Prime trying to open up that Mater Dei pipeline out there in Santa Ana, California. But what if I told you it's a little bit more open than people realize? One of the holdover recruiting commits in the 2023 class that was reaffirmed by Coach Prime and his staff was wide receiver Jordan Onovughe. I believe that's how it's pronounced. I've been looking all over. I haven't been able to find much luck. So if you know it's pronounced differently, please let me know in the comments. But he's a Mater Dei wide receiver. Again, really excited to break down his film here in a minute to talk a little bit more about him. But I want to know in the comments, who does his game remind you of? He's a different wide receiver than most of the other transfers and commits Coach Prime has brought in. And so, again, he's 6'2", 200 pounds. A little bit different than some of the wide receivers we've seen come in here. So I definitely could see a role getting cut out for him in the future. But again, before I get started, would appreciate if you hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. We're building something special towards 1,000 here, and if you're checking in again, would really appreciate it if you hit that like. Let me know in the comments, who does Jordan's game remind you of? But without further ado, let's get into the film. Let's talk a little bit more about Jordan Onovughe, and let's take a look at his game. Okay, so a little bit more background on Jordan. He wasn't highly recruited really going into his senior year. He only recorded 5 catches his sophomore and junior year combined. So he had offers from Fordham, Fresno State, UNLV. He did have a big day at Stanford, big visit at Stanford, but from what I'm looking at, wasn't offered. But you can see that he's really developed into a special player. He got a lot of time in his senior year at Mater Dei, who is ranked number 4 in the nation, right behind St. Thomas Aquinas, who Isaiah Harge, another wide receiver commit, is from, and then right ahead of Bishop Gordon. And you can see he's got quick feet, explosiveness. He's 6'2", 200 pounds. Again, he's a beast of a player. He's a beast of a man, especially for that age. And once he's in the CU facilities and that strength training program, I'm very interested to see where what kind of player he develops into. You can see he had a great concentration and soft hands on that last touchdown, and I would imagine that he's going to be somebody I think that can, of course, stretch the field, but he can also kind of be one of those possession receivers where you can get him the ball early and he's going to make some guys miss, or he's just going to stiff arm some guys, power through them. Again, he can make some of these contested catches, so that's very special. I want to touch a little bit more of his high school career against Bishop Gordon. As you're seeing here, he had a huge game where he had 8 catches for 117 yards and a touchdown. He opened the season with another game where he had 8 catches for 105 yards over West. So he's played some huge games against some huge opponents, which I think is really special. Now, with him not really getting much playing time entering his senior year, that might make you raise an eyebrow, but with a program like Mater Dei, again, they're consistently ranked within the top 5 nationally for high school programs year after year. I'm not too worried about it. But once he had consistent playing time, he showed out. This year, his senior year, 46 receptions for 517 yards and 4 touchdowns. He also returned kicks and punts for Mater Dei. Again, he fits in the mold with what Coach Prime wants to do with getting guys that play in multiple aspects of the game. Again, commitment from the previous staff, and Coach Prime and Brett Bartolone thought it was important for him to stay on the commitment list. So very happy that he's here. Again, he's a very different wide receiver than a lot of the other wide receiver commits. So let me know in the comments, who does he remind you of in terms of his game? And let me know who you want to see me cover next. Subscribe and Sco Buffs.